What is your favorite conspiracy theory, whether you believe it or not? Nicolas Cage is the screen name of a pair of identical twins with vastly different acting styles and personalities. They pretend there's only one of them so that they can take turns having an actual private life, but it's an open secret in Hollywood and was even directly referenced in the movie adaptation, in which one of the Cage twins plays Charlie Kaufman's fictional brother, Donald. The entire music industry got together and created Ticketmaster as a scapegoat. So if someone like Pearl Jam wants to raise ticket prices, it looks bad on their part. But if Ticketmaster raises prices, none of that blame goes to the band. So Eddie Vedder calls the company up, arranges the new price, gets the TM fees under the table, and as a bonus he can protest the company for extra publicity. But at the end of the day, they are all working together. That time travel is possible, and there's definitely someone on The Simpsons writing staff who time traveled back to the mid-90s to warn us of what's to come. Sadly, he can't take a direct approach because it might butterfly effect, but he communicates in the only way he knows how. Through what is arguably the most popular 90s cartoon in this time slot. Chemtrails. Honest, not for any reason other than I had an ex-boss who believes in them so vehemently. Now I'm left-leaning, but this guy owned our factory. He would take meetings in the lunch area to tell us his insane theories on why the government was doing it. Mind you, we are getting paid for this. About 6 weeks before swine flu hit, he takes an hour to tell us how jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. Apparently during this time he missed the cutoff to order our supply of wood. That's right, we made furniture. This owner of a major local furniture maker got so caught up in his conspiracy he forgot to order wood to make the furniture. That the government started the rumors of Area 51 holding aliens to distract people of the other stuff that's actually going on. A friend told me this. I asked if he meant Ares aliens and other facilities. He said no, it's just to prevent theorists to try and find out whatever they happen to be up to. At first I didn't believe it, but the more I thought about it, the more it kinda made sense. At the end of the original The Thing film with Kurt Russell, not the 2011 remake. So the last remaining survivor, Childs, walks up to Kurt's character and they both share a drink as they come to the realization that neither of them are getting out of the situation alive and both of them could be the Thing. So here's the theory: Kurt Russell's character didn't hand Childs alcohol, he handed him his last Molotov cocktail filled with gasoline that they were using in the previous scene to burn down the headquarters. Once Childs drank it without getting violently ill or vomiting, Kurt's character would have known he was the Thing, since the alien wouldn't have been able to tell the taste of gasoline and alcohol apart. Now this is a theory that most serious fans of the film will dismiss, and I don't blame them. But holy hell, did my heart skip a beat the first time I heard that theory, and I thought about it for a bit. It's also a perfect ending if it were true, cause it keeps in line with the nihilistic ending of the movie, just with another layer of dark irony that the main character knows he is the last human left but is totally exhausted and doesn't even have the strength or motivation to do anything about it. Supertramp's 1979 album, Breakfast in America, was a forewarning for 9/11. Breakfast in America's cover is a picture of the New York City skyline as seen from an airplane window. A waitress named Libby, substituting for the Statue of Liberty, is holding a glass of orange juice instead of a torch. The orange juice is positioned so that it is right in front of the Twin Towers. Orange is the color of fire. If you hold the record in front of a mirror, the U and P in Supertramp look like a 9 and an 11. The 9 and 11 are right above the Twin Towers. Super equals great and Tramp equals whore. The great whore of Babylon was the embodiment of sin in the Book of Revelation. Breakfast in America, first plane struck One World Trade Center at 8:45 a.m. On the back cover of the album, a plane is seen flying toward the Twin Towers. This is one of my personal theories. Mandela effects are the result of timeline changes on a massive level, but are not the direct result of the change. So like perhaps the original timeline was one where JFK was never assassinated. Someone goes back in time and shoots him, radically altering the timeline. This sets off a chain reaction which leads to things like Berenstain Bears instead Berenstein Bears. We don't remember the timeline where JFK was never assassinated due to the massive level of alteration of the timeline, but small things like the Berenstein spelling continues to exist within our subconscious. So weird you're asking this because some people have been posting about Tom Hanks and the Great Awakening. I went down the rabbit hole earlier. I can't even describe to you what I've found, but something along the lines of the coronavirus being a cover-up for mass arrests of the world's elite that traffic children and use something out of their blood to stay young. Weirdest shit I've ever read. Dragons were real. Every continent has a culture that developed its own versions of the same mythical creature. And many animals used to be significantly larger than today. Maybe there used to be a large flying reptile living among ancient civilizations. Maybe fossils of these creatures were found by our distant ancestors which further developed these stories. We know there are so many species out there that exist that we haven't discovered yet. The bottom of the ocean remains to be fully explored. Archaeologists are discovering new dinosaurs all the time. Maybe we just haven't discovered the dragon yet? It's obviously goofy, but I like to think it's true anyway. Smile. Megalithomania is not a conspiracy theory. However, I'm pretty sure that close to 100% of megalithomaniacs believe that proofs of an ancient, technologically advanced, possibly global civilization, Atlantis, Lemuria, have been systematically hidden, or that proponents of this theory are being called out as heretics or lunatics as part of a conspiracy. As for me, all I know is that you can't fit a razor blade between the rocks in these walls, and I could spend the rest of my life wondering what kind of technology was developed by what kind of strange people to erect those walls, and who would want to hide proofs of their existence, and for what reasons. Edit. Few words for clarity. The Flat Earth Theory. Because no matter how many times people disprove it, flat earthers still exist. There was a flat earther who accidentally proved the Earth was round while trying to prove it was flat. And guess what? Even though he previously insisted that his methods were flawless, he still claims that Earth is flat and that the experiment was flawed. It just goes to prove, it doesn't matter what the truth is. People are going to believe whatever they want. Personally not a fan of 9/11 conspiracies, but I was suckered in as a teenager. Although I grew up and past that stuff, there is one part of it that I cannot let go of. They found the terrorists' passports on the ground outside the WTC crash. A good Samaritan picked up the passport and handed it to a police officer out of concern. That police officer turned it over to the FBI later. And that's how the FBI discovered the identity of the terrorists. This is what's actually in the 9/11 report. And in order for this to be true, the passport survived the initial crash debris which destroyed the body of its owner, survived the flames which melted the building's support structure, flew out of the terrorist's pocket or suitcase, landed safely on the street nearby instead of on a rooftop or in a pile of debris, was noticed by an unpanicked civilian passerby, who instead of gawking or fleeing, picked up the passport and handed it to a police officer, who instead of being busy with the towering inferno, kept the passport safe, and then as a hunch, turned it over to the FBI as part of the 9/11 investigation instead of a lost and found. Then the FBI took this random passport so seriously that they compiled it in with their terrorism investigation that was at a level 10 after the crash and used it to find the terrorist's identity, within the week if I remember correctly. That is cuckoo bananas batshit stupid. And there is nothing that will convince me it's not a total lie. Now I'm sure that it's a lie that protects real information sources, and that's why it was put at the 9/11 report. It doesn't prove Bush did 9/11 or anything. But it is indeed absolute bullshit. The moon landing conspiracy, because how hilarious misinformed people are. It is actually impossible for us to have faked the moon landing, as the original videos could not have been faked with our level of movie making stuff at the time. Flat Earth is funny because we can disprove with stuff that is around since Archimedes, and we can actually see it. Also, anyone who thinks evolution is just a theory, let's be clear, it's a scientific theory that does not mean what you mean when you say you have a theory. We've actually observed it using bacteria. We've done this in order to make new medicine. In other words, we've done a physical observation of the event and applied it, so 100% real. Okay, so this is one I made up, hopefully, about the JFK assassination and MKUltra. 1. We know JFK was assassinated in 1963. 2. If you do a background check on Lee Harvey Oswald, you'll find that he defected to the Soviet Union when he served the American military. 3. Around JFK's presidency, communism was on the rise. 4. MKUltra was a top-secret CIA experiment that was supposed to teach subjects to resist communist brainwashing for American secrets. Okay, I think that covers the background. Now on to the theory. Theory: JFK and the CIA had called for Oswald to be programmed before his defection. Oswald escapes and fled to Russia for protection. When Oswald spilled the secrets to take down the Soviet Union, he was ordered to take out Kennedy. Being that he was a former American soldier who had been tortured by the CIA, he was more than happy to get revenge on America. Since he couldn't kill a government agency, he figured the best thing would be to kill the president. How'd I come to this theory? Well, first you spell out MKUltra. Notice three things, which are the M, K, and R. Move the R in between the K and you've spelled Mr. K. Who's the biggest Mr. K associated with the government? Mr. Kennedy. Obviously the CIA set up Kennedy when they realized that Oswald would come to take vengeance. Oh yeah, get the president killed by a Soviet spy and the Americans have a reason to unite against communism. So the conclusion is that MKUltra was just a setup to blame one of the Rouge experiments about their torture, which would allow the CIA to document the mental state of the people and improve on their tests. What the CIA didn't plan on is that one person would ply both sides, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is my theory. Clarity. In all honesty though, one theory I think is funny is the Illuminati being made up of celebrities and lizard people. Like, just imagine Jeff in accounting is eating flies and talking with Kim Kardashian about how to influence the American people. Not really so much conspiracy but more a theory. That when you have deja vu you had actually jumped realities or timelines, and this is the effect that you feel due to some massive fluctuation. I also got with the ideas that dreams are entirely real, just not directly happening to you at this time, or maybe not even in this body. But this also loosely bridges off of a theory that every one of us are the same individual/reincarnation. A conspiracy theory that I absolutely love is the idea that art is just a fancy way for right people to launder money.